Hello everyone and welcome to Organic Matters, the podcast brought to you by the Irish Organic Association. You can probably hear some lovely birdsong in the background, and we are indeed outside, but just kind of on the outskirts of Dublin. It's a really nice spot actually in Clonsilla, and I'm here with Michael Foggarty, who he says he's not the owner, but I feel like he's the mastermind, and he's renting a lovely plot of land in this area, and he's growing vegetables on it, and there's a cafe and a farm shop, and we're going to have a stroll around and a chat to Michael now about what he's doing or what he's not doing and some of the issues that he's facing as well as a small enough scale veg producer. So Michael, thank you very much for being on the podcast.
Thank you, Hannah, for having me. Delighted. Lovely day as well.
It's a really nice day. So I said there, the Irish Organic Association podcast, obviously. So all the veg that I look at in front of me, is it all organic certified?
Yes, all the land is organic certified by the IOA. And has been since April 2022, which is funnily enough is when I actually moved in. So I got out the hard part of conversion. So I just had to turn up and grow vegetables, I suppose.
Yeah, just turn up and grow vegetables. Yeah, it's not that easy. I think anyone who's tried it knows that it's not that easy as it seems. But what is Beechpark Eco Farm? What is it, and how big a space are we on at the minute?
So the space we're in is sort of, I call it the main field. It's 3.3 acres. There is another field on the Enfield Railway field. It's probably about 1.4 acres. There are other fields that are managed by other people, as in the owner of the land, and there'll be oats and barley done on there. In total, the whole estate is probably 30 acres. So in total, I'm farming a maximum of, say, 4.5 acres. Predominantly all vegetable production. There is a little bit of fruit, as we'll see as we walk around, but won't be much of it this year.
And I guess for people listening though, I mean, it's interesting because I passed, Mount Sackville School, lots of rugby pitches, lots of sports grounds. It is quite an urban area. So to have this farm tucked in here, it's a little gem, isn't it?
It's absolutely fantastic. I've been in this area from growing vegetables in the allotments on sites for about 12 years, and it was always a little oasis to come out the centre of Dublin, because I used to work in the city. So coming out of the city centre to this is just magnificent, and I think the way everything's fallen into place. I now live here, farm the land. I can't remember what Dublin city centre looks like anymore. I really don't want to. It's a little haven. At the same time, you're only 20 minutes on the train to Dublin, so if you need to get anywhere, or as we do if you're doing some deliveries, I cycle everywhere on an electric bike. I put a trailer on the back of it, and we can deliver sort of like 7 of these sort of green Tesco crates in one drop off. So it's easy to get to delivery. We can deliver to Dublin city centre in 30 minutes with a push bike.
That's amazing. I mean, it sounds like a dream job, and I meet so many people who really want to get into veg growing as well. So how did you get into it?
I've always been interested way back as a child. We grew up on a fruit farm in Scotland. We weren't the farmers, but every summer was spent picking soft fruit. My mother was very much into growing in a garden, so it's always been there. I then went off and done my 20s and then 30s and realised that I wanted to do some of that myself. So, go back 15, 16 years ago, at the back garden, on the balcony or wherever there was a space, growing things, and just sort of progressed, and I've got to this level now, and yeah, it feels like it's the dream job. Probably not the dream finances though.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people can agree with that. We'll stroll forwards anyway, because I see there's polytunnels, there's rows of fields in front of me as well. Of the polytunnels first, okay, you're going to excuse my ignorance now, but I think that they're tomatoes. I think that's an obvious one.
It's pretty much all tomatoes. So there's 5 beds, roughly 28 metres long. Just over 100 tomato plants in each bed. There's one bed that's got a little bit charred, it's going to seed, it'll have to come out.
What tomatoes, are there any specific varieties that you find work well for you?
Last year we done about 6 different varieties. There was a variety, it was a salad type variety that worked really well for us.
Are you going to name it, or are you going to keep it to yourself?
Can't remember it.
If he remembers it, people listening, we will try and put it in the description for you afterwards. Or maybe he is just keeping it to himself, a top secret.
It actually done really well last year, but we don't have it here this year. We have another salad tomato. One that did really well for us is the black cherry tomato.
Okay.
Because then you can mix it with a red cherry tomato, on a golden or yellow submarine cherry tomato, and you've got this lovely cherry mix, which works really good for selling to restaurants because it looks really good on a plate, and it does look colourful and decorative in the farm shop, so people buy it as well. So so these sort of things really work for us. I dibble in with San Marzano now and again, simply because I love pizza. We've done them last year, we haven't done them this year because we've sort of changed what we're doing this year. We had 6 varieties this last year. I think this year we've 16. And we're building an event around it in August, like a tomato festival, so we need different varieties of tomatoes for that. And we've also listened to what some of our restaurant customers want, and so we're growing for them as well, what they need.
Is that important, listening to your customers and getting that feedback? Because ultimately you are selling to them, and I guess it's a higher end tomato and with a higher price tag, so you need to justify that.
Yeah, and whether it's a restaurant customer or a farm shop customer, they're both in the same boat. As we found, I think we do have one beefsteak tomato in here this year, a small amount. But the first year when we took over, we had lots of beefsteak and they didn't sell. People didn't want them, or they don't know what to do with them. So what might work for a restaurant customer won't work for a farm shop customer as well. So we're trying to balance that out. Restaurants like Weird and Wonderful, farm shop customers, me included, sometimes just like a tomato.
Yeah.
Nice
cherry tomato. So, and in terms of the crops, the tomatoes themselves, do you grow them from seed?
Yeah, we grow everything from seed here. We don't buy any pod plants or anything like that. Everything's done from seed. We have a glass house, it's heated. So we started these tomato plants off probably, I think it was the 28th of January.
Blight issues, anything like that?
Touched some sort of wood, yeah. None last year or the year before, so no, we've been very good. We do have good ventilation. It is quite warm, but there is good ventilation in here.
Can we walk through to go to the other side? I always love I love the warmth of a polytunnel. There's just something so relaxing about it.
I reckon it's about 28, 29 at the moment because it's just bearable.
There's a temperature
31.
Gauge, 31, yeah.
And normally when it starts hitting that, you can start sweating a bit and it goes up, and when it hits 35, it's run for your life.
And the rainbow chard as well that you're passing, is that for farm shop, or what is it for restaurants?
For farm shop, yeah. Very popular with Middle Eastern customers. They'd use the leaf like a vine leaf, so when they use in Middle Eastern cooking for wrapping, so they can't get vine leaves here. So they would use that. So we get asked for it a lot. That's actually coming out. That was an overwinter chard, so it's due to come out. There's no rush on it because this is a spot where cucumbers are going. So the cucumbers have were only seeded a couple of weeks ago, so they're not quite ready to go in the ground. As soon as they are, it's a turnover in the day. They'll be out, fork the bed up, clean it out, loads of organic matter into there, tidy it up, cucumber plants in, and away we go.
Where do you get your organic matter from? Because I don't see any cattle or horses or anything outside.
We inherited a lot when we took over, and I mean an awful lot.
Isn't that a lovely inheritance to give someone?
Yeah, and it's tons and tons and tons of it.
So you are using some form of, is it animal manure and straw? It's essentially broken down. Okay.
We've actually walked past it. I should have pointed it out, but yeah, it's there. It's some animal manure. We inherited it. We've also got our own compost heaps. We do a little bit of that ourselves, so which has been quite productive as well. So we have that, so that works for us, yeah.
Well, sure, like we're on the other end now of that polytunnel. How many polytunnels? I know you said you had a heated glass house as well, but how many polytunnels would you have?
One tunnel at the moment. I suppose the plan is to get I'd like to more. It gives us more opportunity over the winter for crops. So we will look at that. That's the difference.
You've only been here 2 years. You've done an awful lot already. Yeah.
That's the profit and loss for this year. It's the difference. Will we make enough money to pay the wages, pay the rents, and the dream is another polytunnel. That's the reality for us, because then it gives us more opportunity for the winters and what we can grow over winter. And I mentioned that we'd done the tomato seeds on the 28th of January. It seems a bit early, but we're working with such a short area of germination space and heatiness. So we start them off, we get them up to a certain size, then we can move them over here, not necessarily in the ground, but we've still got that heated greenhouse. So we can start the brassicas off. So everything's a system, everything's working in every inch of space. It's quieting down now, we've got a lot of space left over now because everything's going out. But we'll start another round of sowing this week as well. But we don't have to use the heated element. So we're starting things off early so that we don't want to be in a space. We need thousands of plants, we don't have space for it. So everything's a time, and we planned it out when we first came in here, January 23. And we were rigid, and we've stuck to that plan again this year because it worked really well for us, and we see the results now. It's really worked for us, so
And the field that's in, I mean, there's a couple of crops. I mean, start over to the left and work way over to the right. So what's going on the left, and then just point to the crops and move along.
In the field here, there's 4 beds for the four organic rotation. So the far side was not legumes, there's brassicas last year. So there's a bit of old purple sprouting broccoli due to come out that's just stopped harvesting there. Potatoes are late this year going in. I'm resigned to that. It doesn't worry me. Because it's not.
What varieties of potatoes? Because I'm growing organic blight-resistant ones now.
I'm Connect and Setanta.
Okay.
So same.
I think I'm Carolus and Setanta maybe.
Carolus are lovely. We grew them 2 years ago.
I mean, I get complaints from my family that they're a bit waxy, but I like a waxy spud.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think the Connect one is sort of almost the bulletproof one.
Okay.
Even when it's been left in the ground, the slugs don't seem to.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you have any issues with wireworm or anything like that?
Did over in the other field, and they had spuds there, and that's been stopped there now.
And is that all you can do? Can you do anything to prevent?
I do believe you can. There are things that you can put on that are, within the organic system. It's fine. I'm not really for that, and as little as possible. Let nature, let the land do its thing, and let organic matter do its thing. Even if it is derived from plant-based, it's even when just some funny names. I'm just like that. That's me. But over there's a bit of fruit as well. Strawberry we put down, and lots of love last year. Nice, lovely raised beds and nice bit of sort of weed suppressant fabric. But someone left a load of potatoes in it prior to us, which is sort of the worst thing. Strawberries over potatoes is probably the worst thing you can do anyway. But now all we see is they're probably the best potatoes in Ireland actually, because they've just come up again. We didn't realise they were there. So they're sort of written off that. Lovely fruit bushes, blackcurrant, red currant, gooseberry. Like I said, we've just started moving that because the potatoes will go in there. The furthest away bed is our legumes this year, so there'll also be squash. You've probably seen squash plants lying around everywhere outside the tunnel. They'll go down there. This middle bed here is our roots, so you can see our garlic and onion. If you walk down, you'll see the beetroot, some chard, some more onion, fennel, all these sort of crops going in, and there's space there going in. And then to your right is our brassica bed, which is my favourite crop of the group of the families.
And in terms of the brassicas being your favourite crop, I asked before we started, I said, okay, so a lot of veg growers are going to be listening, so they're going to want to know what makes you money, and you said brassicas, which was not what I was expecting. Usually when I ask a veg grower, they'll say the salad crop.
But salad does, yeah. Salad does. Obviously, it's a bit more care in it, but yeah, it does make quite a bit of money. But there's 400 kale plants just down there, right? They'll be ready to harvest in, I'd say, about 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah.
And that's what coming into June, and they'll still be harvesting them in February.
Okay.
So we're getting 9 months of the year out of this kale plant, a decent kilo price. Well used in restaurants, well used in our. It doesn't matter how much we have in the farm shop, we can't keep it in stock. So it does really well. Broccoli, purple sprouting broccoli, February, March, April, commands a good kilo price. From both restaurants and farm shop consumers. Cauliflower, yeah, a lovely traditional white cauliflower is great. A purple one, it's lovely. And so you're looking at all these different things, all these brassicas. Okay, brassicas like turnips and whatnot, Swedes. Yeah, they're not making that much money, but they're really good within that brassica family. Do make money, and they're good for us. We can, like the kohlrabi, we can turn that into a nice dish that we can sell in the cafe, and it gives people, because people don't know what to do with the kohlrabi. They're, what's that? Okay, we'll try this in the cafe. Okay, that's nice. I want to try that. I want to buy that. So, and it's more of a personal thing as well for me. I just love brassicas because they're generally available all year round, and they're really good for you. I love squash as well, and we'll start cropping squash in August. We'll have storage varieties that'll go right through to March. So that's an 8-month window as well, and it's having food. We're trying to have food all year round, I suppose.
Are you exhausted? Because I'm looking around this plot of land and I only see one person here standing in front of me. How are you harvesting these? Do you have robots going out at night? Like, how are you managing it?
No, so we generally have a bigger team. We're just going through some staff changes. There's a bit of a merry-go-round, I think, organic horticulture in the Dublin region in the last few weeks, and people have just been moving and blah blah blah. I think it's settled down now. We should be back to normal next week. What we do, I work 6-7 days a week. I don't mind that, but I gave up my restaurant job last September to focus on this, so it's not as bad as it was last year when I was double jobbing. You're working during the day and then going into the restaurant at night, finishing at midnight, coming back here in the morning. That's when you would ask me, did you sleep? You know, and sometimes the answer would be no. Now I'm on site, I live on site, so the commute from Dublin is gone as well. So everything's sort of just coming together, and I felt that was the right move. That was the move that says you're either in this 110% or you're not. And that's the move it is. So when I get up in the morning, I live over there, I have to walk 50 metres to this, and it's a buzz. Yeah. The weather's good, it's so tranquil, and it's so peaceful. Nothing stopped me, and I'll keep working till late at night, you know, and I don't feel tired. I actually feel enjoyment. The only things that stop me is injuries, and we're a little bit behind because everything went wrong last week. I'd always been kneeling too much by planting out that I'd done my knee in, so I couldn't kneel anymore. I then managed to go and chop the top of my finger off in the kitchen in the farm shop, and then I got on Sunday I pulled a muscle on my back, and then I fell off my bike and I had to cut the strap of my wrist up. So things don't come in threes for me, everything just came at once, bang. So a couple of days just taking it easy, but my knee feels fine now, and I'm determined to get out and start kneeling and planting again.
Okay, but tell me you do have a couple of other people around as well. You
so
must.
I have someone who pretty much looks after the polytunnel.
Okay.
They start at 6 a.m. in the morning to deal with that, so they're not in with the heat, and they just slowly look after that. I give them minimal help, and that's perfect. I know that's looked after. Outside, I'd have someone else working with me. Planting out, we'd work as a team, because you're working in twos, it does work a lot quicker. So we have someone just left a couple of weeks ago, so we're in that area where we don't, but someone's starting on Monday, so we work as a team. And we were planning out this morning, 2,500 squash plants, and we went, okay, that'll take us 2 days, the two of us. Just, once you get into the feeding, and we won't do it in 2 days, but it'll take 2 days. We'll do it over 4 days, because you get fairly bored doing 8 hours. It's that 2 days on the rounds. So, and we'll mix it up a bit like that, so that I'm not being stupid and kneeling for 8-9 hours a day again.
And are you the chef in the farm shop as well?
Yes.
And in the cafe?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm chef, sandwich maker, farm shopkeeper. I do it all, but and the reality is, if the business is going to be a business, it has to start somewhere. There's been a couple of false starts on this farm before, so I've had to go and put this in. I've got to do it myself. Once we get these things up and running, my idea would be to sort of farm as business A, farm shop and cafe as business B. Separate them, bring a sort of farm shop manager, cafe person in, look after that. We've built it up now, it's rewarded, it's doing what it needs to be doing, it can run itself.
And is it making money? People are going to be wondering, is it worth doing a farm shop, a farm cafe?
Yes.
Do you have to be like this feels like an affluent area, I think I can say that, this part of Dublin.
There's a bit of everything in this area, and not in a bad way either. But yeah, we've had complaints about the prices of our vegetables, to be honest. And then when we actually highlight it against the big German supermarket across the road, which is literally 100 metres from us, we're cheaper. We can't beat the 49 cents veg. But there are things, if you're buying direct from us as a farm, I think a lot of people do think organic is going to be more expensive. So we're always trying to break that barrier down. Like I say, it can be done. Having a farm shop, we're a little bit off the beaten track, but we've put the effort in. And that's it. Like, we've put the effort in. The rewards are coming. We've got the farm shop. We stupidly make our own ice cream now as well. And with this weather, I seem to be making ice cream every day as well now. So that's another thing. But then people are talking about us, and what we seem to find, we've got two crowds coming now. We've got people who really want their organic, fresh, local vegetables, and we've got people who have come from the play park beside us with their children who see an ice cream sign. But then they've discovered the farm shop and never knew this was there before because it was never in their interest. So they come in and they see these vegetables, and so that's where the building blocks have sort of come in place, because you've got these different areas of the business and people just coming for a coffee. The nearest coffee shop from here is 4.5 kilometres away. We don't have a big fancy coffee machine because we can't afford one and we don't have the power for it. So we do a very nice filter coffee. It's to order, it's poured over, and then you pour it's one filter per cup, and it's really nice coffee. And people actually come for that as well.
So it's the simple stuff being done well.
Yeah, you don't need, like, you can go and spend €10,000 on a big fancy coffee machine and make the worst coffee in the world.
Yeah.
You know, or you can spend €25 on a little drip filter and make unreal coffee. That's the difference.
And I'm going to bring it back around though to recruitment, because as energetic as you are, I think the self-inflicted injuries are going to slow you down first. So, but is recruitment an issue?
Yeah, I think the recruitment is an issue. We've gone through quite a few people, to be honest, and some lovely people, but sometimes the heart's not quite in it. It's just a job, and sometimes they've got all the qualifications in the wall, but the practical experience is just lacking.
But there's only something like 60 veg growers left in Ireland. It's a tiny, tiny amount.
And how many is that going to be next year? We're losing a skill. We're really losing a skill, and it's something we'd have to address. And we need to get more sort of hands-on, practical approach to it as well. All the bookwork is great, but it doesn't tell you what to do when you've lost a crop. It doesn't tell you what to do when you forgot to put a net on a crop. So we need to get people into the field and more practical stuff. We've seen what happens when you rely on other countries for things. Look at the price of energy. We had no control over that. That was 2 other countries at war. It's affected us. You know, all this stuff vegetables we import from Spain. What happens? Well, Spain's having a drought. How do you think they're going to be sending us their vegetables, or are they going to look after themselves? We've got to learn these skills and have them back. We're an island nation and we can certainly do it. With lots of fish in the sea, with lots of food there that we send away. You know, we've got plenty of fields. You know, plenty to grow food. But the amount we import is insane, and we're losing that skill. So we need to the recruitment has to change, and education on it.
How big again? Just to remind people, how big again is the plot that you have here?
So we're just shy of 4.5 acres.
And how many people are you feeding every week, do you think?
Well, the true test of that will be when we start our Dublin CSA with Bohemian Football Club, and we've said
wow.
Yes,
but roughly, give or take, you must have orders and things. Are you feeding 100 people, 200 people a week?
I'd say in the 150 to 200 is doable, and I think we can do more. There's lots of space to expand here, and we had all that great ideas last year about doing that. What we've done this year is focusing on working what we've got really, really well, keeping it clean, and then we can look at expanding. Instead of going, we're going to do this and this and this and this, we're going to be millionaires.
Yeah, instead of making ice cream and then doing
well, there's all these other things as well, yeah. But we've done all these things in the farm shop and the cafe, because I don't generally think the farm shop alone would sell enough vegetables.
And they're complementing each other.
Yeah, and that's what it is. It's the complement, it's the working together, because I don't think either of them on their own would work. It's how they work together, and you see that with other businesses as well. You wonder why are they selling that besides that? Because there's obviously that's the market works for them.
Have you learnt new skills since taking this on in the last 2 years?
Or
is it actually just, do you feel like you're kind of coming into your own, that this was something that you always wanted to do?
A bit of both, definitely coming into my own. And I stand and look at these brassica plants, and every time I look at, every minute I think they're getting bigger, and I just love looking at them, because I feel so proud of them. And there's that sense of pride of taking a seed, planting it, growing it, and eating it. And I've always had that over my life, and anyone who grows their own vegetables has that. There's something amazing about it. So coming into own, learning new skills, yes, learning how to deal with scale pests as opposed to picking off the slugs. You just can't do that here.
How do you deal with slugs on mass?
So we are allowed to use an organic slug pellet. We do use a little bit of that. But as I look at the 2 beds here, right, this is great. We've got brassicas there, not so easy identifiable because there's no weed suppressant fabric. But we've weed suppressant fabric here. And you see in the first bed, a lot of them there's nothing in the holes because slugs have ate them, because someone never put the slug pellets underneath when the sheet went down. You look at the far side, they're amazing because slug pellets are underneath there. We've taken the nets off to give them a better chance as well to start growing, pushing up, and then once they're strong enough, the net can go back on. But the quality over there, where there is no weed suppressant fabric, is unreal. But that'll have its own challenges in about 6 weeks' time, unless we keep hoeing it, because the weeds will come.
Michael, I think we probably talk forever, but we'll get close to the ending. If people want to come to your farm, if they want to look you up online, where can they find you?
So website is beechparkfarm.com. You can always email me. It's carrots@beechparkfarm.com. Instagram is beechpark_eco_farm. That's where most of the things go on, and you can see what we're getting up to on a daily basis here. All the silly things we do, and the fun things we do. And yeah, the door's always open if anyone wants to come. We never turn anyone away from a farm tour. They won't know if they'll end up working on it at some stage.
More slug pickers, that's something like that. And Michael, it's been an absolute joy. Thank you very much. For everyone listening, you've been listening to Organic Matters, a podcast brought to you by the Irish Organic Association. For more podcasts, there's a huge back catalogue there. This is our 3rd season, so you can go on to Spotify, you can go onto your listening platform of choice, and we will be there. But for me, Hannah Mulligan, thank you very much for listening. And before I go, if you want to know more about organics, go to www.irishorganicassociation.ie.